All right, this is sample work 1 for Algebra 1B Part 2. I'm going to go in order through the lessons of the unit. Unit 1 of lesson 1 of Unit 1 contains about 8 words, and they're all referring to quadratic functions and parabolas. So, word number 1, axis of symmetry. So make sure to write every word, every definition, and sketch every example. Axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry is the line that divides a parabola in half. Example, parabola, axis of symmetry. Okay. Maximum. Okay. The highest point. In a region. So in this parabola, this is the maximum. Minimum. The lowest point in a region. So in this parabola, this is a minimum. Parabola. The U shape made when graphing y equals x squared. Parabola. Quadratic function. Any function built from y equals x squared. Example, y equals 2x squared minus 7x plus 4. Quadratic parent function. Y equals x squared. As an example, I'll graph it. I'll graph it over here. 0 squared is 0, 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4. Negative 1 squared is 1, negative 2 squared is 4. Y equals x squared. Standard form of a quadratic equation. The formula is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. As an example, we'll do 2x squared minus 7x plus 4 equals 0. Vertex. The point in a parabola of greatest curvature. I'll use this graph. That's the vertex. It's also the minimum or lowest point on the graph in this case. Okay, that's it for lesson 1. Let's go to lesson 2. Quadratic functions. See if there's any keywords. Nope, no keywords on lesson 2. Lesson 3, solving quadratic equations. Any keywords? Yep, there's 4 of them. One is quadratic equation as opposed to quadratic function. It's an equation with a quadratic function on one side. So example, 4x squared minus 7x plus 2 equals 12. It's a quadratic equation. Root of an equation. X value that makes the equation true, or that makes it true. Okay? Y equals, or not y equals, we need an equation, not a function. So we'll need a function, let's say x squared plus 5x plus 6 equals 0. X equals negative 2 is a root, because negative 2 squared plus 5 times negative 2 plus 6, that's 4, plus 6 is 10, and 5 times negative 2 is negative 10, makes 0. So negative 2 is a root. Okay. Standard form of a quadratic equation. I think we already defined that. Yes, we already defined that. And 0 of a function, I think we already defined. Did we do 0 of a function? No, we did not do 0 of a function. Okay, so 0 of a function. X value that makes f of x or y equals 0. Example, if y equals x squared plus 5x plus 6, then x equals negative 2 is a 0 of the function, because it makes the function 0. 5x plus 6. There we go. Okay, that's lesson 3. Lesson 4, factoring to solve quadratic equations. Okay, there's something called the zero product property. And here's what it is. If two numbers like a and b multiply and the answer is 0, then the only way that can happen is for a to be 0 or b to be 0. Example, x minus 2, x minus 3 equals 0. Then x minus 2 equals 0 or x minus 3 equals 0. One of them must be 0 in order for that product to be 0. Okay, that's lesson 4. Lesson 5 is a mid-unit review. Lesson 6 is completing the square. Okay, keyword, completing the square. A solution method that makes a perfect square. Example, x squared plus 6x equals -8. We take half of 6 because 3 plus 3 is 6. We're going to multiply 3 times 3 and add 9 to both sides. That makes a perfect square on the left. X plus 3 squared equals 1. Okay, I can now take the square root. X plus 3 is, the square root of 1 is 1 or -1, so -1 or 1. Subtract 3 from both sides, and x is -4 or -2. That's completing the square. Okay. Lesson 7, the quadratic formula and the discriminant. Okay, and there's two words, quadratic formula and discriminant. Quadratic formula. This is one that needs to be memorized. X equals -b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Example, I'll use the example x squared plus 5x plus 6 equals 0. Actually, I'll use this example right here. Okay, in this case, a is 1, b is 5, c is 6, so x becomes -b, -5, plus or minus square root b squared, 5 squared, minus 4ac, 4 times 1 times 6, all over 2a, 2 times 1. X equals -5 plus or minus 25 minus 4 times 6 is 24. 2 times 1 is 2. X equals -5 plus or minus 25 minus 24 is 1, square root 1. X equals -5 plus or minus 1, so -5 plus or minus 1 over 2. -5 plus 1 is -4 divided by 2 is -2. -5 minus 1 is -6 divided by 2, which is -3. The solutions are -2 or -3. Quadratic formula. And discriminant. discriminant. The discriminant is b squared minus 4ac, which you'll notice is the square root part of the quadratic equation or quadratic formula. Okay? And if the discriminant, I'll use d, if the discriminant equals 0, there is one solution. If d is less than 0, if it's negative, there are no solutions. If d is positive, greater than 0, there are two solutions. Let me give you an example. X squared plus x plus 1 equals 0. The discriminant is b squared, 1 squared, minus 4 times 1 times 1. So d is 1 minus 4, which is negative 3, which is less than 0, so there are no solutions. Okay, and I believe that is the last word. Let me make sure. They talk about linear and quadratic models. Lesson 8. There are no new words. Lesson 9, systems of linear and quadratic equations. And there are no new words. And then there's quadratic functions review. So those are all the words for lesson 1.